animals be sensitive to energies or psychic in some ways? How can we distinguish their sensitivities and how can we interact energetically with them? Let's talk about this in a moment. Thank you for being with me in this channel that is about taking control of our evolution spiritually and here in this lifetime. The topic today is very much of our interest because many of us, we have pets that we would like to know how psychic they are or what to do if they are in some conditions that they sense energies that are not good. So we are going to discuss about this, but I want to mention first that there is some sort of a myth that all animals are very sensitive, all animals are clairvoyant, all animals are very psychic. And I say this is a myth because as with us, human beings, that some of us, we are very sensitive and know very clearly what we are sensing, but others, they may get ideas telepathically or they may be influenced by subtle energies, but they don't even notice, they don't have a clue, they just move on in life not knowing what is around and how those energies around of them could be influencing them. Same thing happens to animals. Animals tend to be, in a way, more sensitive or more open than human beings for one reason. They have less judgment, in a way. We learn to refrain or to repress lots of our sensitivities, and others, when they learn they can be sensitive to energies or to a subtler reality, what happens is that they become fanatical. They somehow start seeing something that's supernatural in every little thing, when many times there's nothing supernatural, it's just natural and natural in the physical world. So as human beings, we complicate because either we emphasize and make a fuss out of some things and create some sort of fanaticism, but other times we just repress or deny. Animals do not have that, not for one side and not for another. Therefore, more naturally, they just embark in what they sense and react related to that. So what we will notice is that sometimes we recognize or we notice that our pets are, for example, behaving strangely, like barking to a wall where there's no one standing there, or sometimes behaving as if they would be interacting with someone where there is also no one, at least not physically speaking, there in that position. So we may start observing to examine if that could be the case, that the animal is perceiving some sort of non-physical person or non-physical being there. How will you know? Number one, because you observe and you are not going to take into consideration just one time that your animal did that, or at least not just one time that did it, in a very superficial way. You have to observe, to examine, to study, but also use your own sensitivity. You can, for example, spread or send out your energies in that direction. Expand your sensitivity and you check if there is someone there in the area that they are barking to or that they are reacting in a different way. So you will confirm. It's very important to identify that. Not to know, hey, my dog is clairvoyant. Okay, that is nice, but that is not the most important point. The most important point is that if our animal is sensitive and they could be, for example, being influenced or receiving some negative energies of some sort from a physical person or a non-physical person or from the environment that can affect them. That can affect them as much as it could affect us. So how can we handle this in a way that we help our pets? So we could, for example, emit energies to their energy field so that we cleanse their little auras, we cleanse their energy field, and of course later we want to also cleanse the corner that they are barking towards, or our house, or whatever it is that could be making them uncomfortable. Of course, in many cases there are pets that they could even be used, but putting in a good sense, be influenced, let me put it a more precise word, be influenced by some positive non-physical consciousness that could use them sometimes to alert us of something. Or there are cases of animals that they saved lives of people that they didn't know. Sometimes they go and they spot people and find people that were in dangerous conditions at kilometers at a distance from where they were. So there are cases in which we can observe that the animals were somehow influenced to do something good or to try to prevent an accident or something like that. But in the same way, we can have our animals somehow influenced by not so good energies. So there may be cases in which animals would make noise or behave in a strange way because of these influences. If you notice, sometimes there are movies like terror movies or movies about poltergeists in which they show some animals behaving in a way that is very unusual, participating or being used in a way, in a negative way, in that condition, in that situation. Of course, movies exaggerate. Of course, movies make some sort of approach to make us feel afraid, to give us a rush of adrenaline. But many times that is based on true stories, that is based on elements that people describe. Well, I think it's important to say that different than human beings, animals are not very likely to be influenced, especially by negative energies. And why is that? Because in our cases, we tend to be somehow digging in our memory things that hurt us, or keep rethinking about the same thing, or ruminating some ideas or emotions, and all of that may create some connections that facilitate, in some cases, these interferences of energies that are not so positive. In the case of animals, they simply live the moment. They tend not to be so much of emotional beings as we are, at least not with the sort of complex emotions that we have. So this helps them a lot. But keep an eye, because if you notice your animal starts behaving differently, but not only aggressively, sometimes they lack energies, they are kind of sad, they are kind of down for no reason. Check their energies, check what is going on around, and you can send energy to them to cleanse them if that is the case. Now, another thing that you can try and do, and that's very positive for you and for your pet as well, is to try to interact energetically. There is always some sort of connection between our energy fields and the energy fields of other beings around of us, physical and non-physical ones as well. But in this case, we are talking about our pet, it's a physical one. So that interaction is there, present all the time. What you can do is, for example, observe if in moments that, let's say, you are doing an energy work, you are expanding your energies, or you are doing the velo to do your self-defense technique, or even if you are doing a meditation, maybe you are meditating and your animal behaves differently at that moment. Or you are about to have an astral projection and your animal senses and they jump on you or they behave somehow in a different way. So check if your pet do this sort of thing, so you will know also how sensitive to energies they are. And you can try and somehow train your abilities to connect with energies of others, in this case, someone you love, your little pet. So you can expand your energies and make your energies touch their energy field and observe if they notice it. Because when we talk about them sensing when we are about to leave the body or when we are working with energies or something like that, it comes from them, the attitude or the action first of observing something and reacting. What I am suggesting is that comes from you first, the attitude of connecting with them energetically. So you can just play. Maybe you expand a little your energies in their areas and see if they look at you, or if they would behave in a specific way, if they would come closer, if they would go further. You can also do the same. For example, if you are in a park and you see a bird, try to see if the bird looks at you, if you can make the bird calms down, if you can make them, for example, fly or sing better or something like that, because of the interaction with your energies. Of course, we are going to do that in the most ethical way. It's just a subtle wave of energies. It's to interact, to produce a positive result. somehow it is positive and it helps the animals when we have this sort of interaction, because it helps them also to sense that they are more conscious. We give them something that they normally do not have, which is attention also to their sensitivity. So if we do that properly, that is positive. So, but we need to keep an eye on what results we are obtaining from that. Anyways, hope that gives you some ideas. Thank you very much for being with me. See you in the next video.